Now, let us continue. Are the directors or trustees entitled to compensation? Our answer is no. Unless it is a reasonable per diem. Per diem, allowance for the meetings, for their attendance on the meeting. Or in case of approval of stockholders representing at least majority of the outstanding capital stock or majority of the members. Our rule, the directors or trustees are not entitled to compensation. However, they may be entitled to reasonable per diem or if it is with the approval of the stockholders representing majority of the OCS or majority of the members. And remember, the outstanding capital stock. Outstanding capital stock does not include treasury shares. Now, if granting the directors or trustees, they have compensation. In no case that the total yearly compensation of directors exceed 10% of the net income before income tax of the corporation during the preceding year. It is still subject to limit that it should not exceed 10% of the net income before income tax during the preceding year. Now, compensation of directors or trustees of corporations vested with public interest. The same must be reported. There must be an annual report of the total compensation of each director or trustee. Annual report submitted to SEC as well as the stockholders. Now, that is to determine whether the total yearly compensation did not exceed the limit and whether it is reasonable and not biased in favor of the directors or the trustees. Now, removal of directors or trustees. Removal. Say the director is not qualified. He is not suited for the position. Now, because of mismanagement, they would like to remove the director. What is the voting requirement? Both of the stockholders representing 2/3 of the OCS or 2/3 of the members in case of non-stock. Again, as a point of comparison, for the election of the board of directors or trustees, what is required is only the vote of the majority of the outstanding capital stock or majority of the members. For the removal of the directors or trustees, more than the majority. What is required is 2/3. Vote of stockholders representing 2/3 of the outstanding capital stock or 2/3 of the members. Now, what are the requirements for removal? Of course, there must be a meeting. It's either a regular or special meeting and a notice to that effect. Now, with or without cause, a director may be removed with or without cause, except for the director who was elected by the minority can only be removed for just cause. But we don't prejudice the rights of the minority stockholders. Now, SEC may motu proprio. When you say motu proprio, at its own initiative, or upon verified complaint and after due notice and hearing, order the removal of a director or trustee. Now, removal is only one of the reasons that may cause the vacancy in the board of directors or trustees. But how do we fill the vacancy? And what are the other grounds or causes for vacancy in the board? Reasons of vacancy. Now, on how we will elect, perhaps it would be much better for us to classify and have a code. If the reason of vacancy is Ray stands for removal, expiration of term, increase in the number of directors. If the reason of vacancy is Ray, it is required that the election of the substitute director must be done by the stockholders. Again, how do the stockholders elect directors or trustees? Vote of the stockholders representing majority OCS or majority of the members. if the reason or cause of vacancy is rate. However, we are quite lenient with respect to RAD. If the reason is resignation, abandonment, death, or designation. Resignation, abandonment, death, or designation. Now, it can be filled by the remaining directors or trustees provided that they still constitute a quorum. If there is no quorum, no more quorum, then we go back to the stockholders. Okay, resignation, abandonment, death, or the, I think that is disability. Disability. Okay, this is removal, expiration of term, or increasing the number of directors only the stockholders. But if it is RAD, Board of Directors, for as long as there is still a quorum, directors or trustees. Otherwise, let us go back to this requirement. Now let us have this problem. KGI has 5 members of the Board of Directors. One of its directors, Alfie, was removed from his position. Ray Rudd was removed from his position due to absences in the meetings and mismanagement. Nevertheless, KCI's Board of Directors still constitute a quorum. And they unanimously elected Francis to replace Alfie. Is the appointment of Francis valid? Remember the reasons. Death, disability. Removal, expiration of term, and increase would require the stockholders. In this case, this is by reason of removal. Thus, the Board of Directors or trustees cannot elect the replacement or substituting director. Now, what if Alfie voluntarily resigned due to failing health and the Board of Directors still constitute a quorum? Consequently, majority elected Francis to replace Alfie. Would the election of Francis be considered as valid? Due to failing health, he resigned. That is part of RAD. Resignation, abandonment, death, disability. Now, in this case, if the remaining Board of Directors still constitute a quorum, they themselves can elect who will be the replacement or substituting director. And whoever will be elected will only continue, and he will only finish the term of the predecessor director. Now we have the replacement director, except expiration of term or removal, the election to fill the vacancy must be held not later than 45 days from the time the vacancy arose. And so remember that we have the reportorial requirement for the election that should be complied with. Now the creation of emergency board that we mentioned, this is new under RA 11232. And that ends part 5 of the revised corporation code. Now for part 6, we will be discussing the powers of corporation.